Hey Ron, how you doing, buddy? Looks like you're the first one on there. Happy Sunday. Kyle, me and you need to talk. I thought we were friends, and you don't tell me about these places. Uh, what's up with that? That place was good, man. I had some good tacos. One of them lit me up pretty good, though, and I may have had to use the men's room in the middle of my meal. Just saying. What's up, Ara? How are you, buddy? Hey, Megan, Malia, Megan, how are you guys? Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. It's. I think this hopefully will be a very good. Oh, perfect, Maria. I think tonight is a very important discussion. So I wasn't supposed to drink anything till my Vegas trip. I'm in hard training, but I have to do it for this and break out the good stuff. Got to break out the good stuff for this one tonight. Hopefully everything runs okay. You guys hear me okay? Hey Matt, what's up, buddy? Judith, D. We had to break out the good stuff for this tonight because I'm looking forward to this. This is an important conversation, right? Oh, just give people a few minutes to jump on because I know there's so many people that want to talk about this. So many people that hey, I like Negroni, Mark. I wish I was there sharing one with you, buddy. What's up, Nick? Rob, how are you, pal? I hope you had a good seminar with Dave. I'm sure you did. I'm sure it was a good one. Wish I could have made that one. Hopefully, hopefully I could work with Dave here sometime in the next year. Hello, Sophie. Yeah, have a good time, buddy. What concert you going to, Derek? Hey, Tracy, how are you? Over there in beautiful Australia. Miss you guys. Think about you guys a lot. I wish I was there right now. Here is the first question. Ara, what is forward conditioning? That is basically just classical conditioning at its proper timing, it's in its proper order. Ara, okay. So in other words, you know, sit, pop, yes, reward, whatever, simple stuff. Okay, classical conditioning in its proper order. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be back there, Tracy, but I sure have some really great memories. Hello, Carolyn, Miss IGP lady. So proud of you. Hey Casey, how are you? Damn it, I had my Zaya shirt on earlier. I was at the gym though. It was my very pink bright color rocking my Zaya in the gym, but it was a little wet and sweaty, so I had to get rid of it. Hello, Mandy. No, this isn't a Zaya top, Casey. I just got back from Asheville. I went to see an old friend of mine from Jersey. Actually, we played Little League together and grew up together. He was in Nashville, so we went out for some lunch. Hey, Bob. How are you, pal? I'm sure you guys have questions. There's been so much great discussion going on. That's a good thing. So I'll just give it another minute or so because I didn't really let people know. Hey, Jenny, what time we were doing this? Thanks, Carolyn. I'm trying. I have to keep up with you now. You're like titling multiple dogs and doing all this fancy stuff. Hey, Joey, how are you, buddy? So we got to get ready to go. Ooh. Hey, you got it, Nicholas. Yeah, well, I think listen, Nicholas, I think this discussion is needed, and I'm glad Ivan did that discussion. It's important, and you guys may be surprised to hear my side of it. Hey, is it Hosel or Josel? Hello, Anna. How are you guys? Happy Sunday. Yeah, I didn't really plan on doing this, but today I was like, you know what? There's too much talk about it, too much negative talk. Hey, Tony, all kinds of just conflict back and forth. It's so insane, man. Let's just speak openly. Let's not hide names. Let's just talk openly and have a good discussion because there's so many confused people there. I see what Ivan's saying about using it to make trash holes counters bite back, but the collar the way he does, but I can't agree with using it as an activation. I can't agree that using it as an activation doesn't work when I have make dogs speed up. All right, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that the best I can. Okay. Again, special night tonight because this discussion's so important to me. All right. We're breaking out the good stuff. And if you really want me to be honest, I got some of my Jersey buddies coming down next month. I have a lot of alcohol in the house, tons of wine, tons of bourbon, tons of scotch. And I'm going to put it all out for everyone, but I need to drink this before they get here because I don't want to share this one. So I hope they don't. I hope they don't see this. Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming back to North Carolina, September, and I'm going to be at Will Whitting's place out in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I don't think he's announced it yet. That's right, Nick. Nothing but the best. All right, you guys, just about ready to get started. We'll give it like 1 minute or so here, and hopefully we have a very good open discussion. No bullshit, no beating around the bush. Hey, Brad, how are you, buddy? And again, I'm not supposed to be drinking until I hit Vegas next month because I got to get my Vegas body going. Okay, the Vegas Larry and Kentucky Larry's two different things. I have clothes that I buy just for Las Vegas, so I have to be in very good shape. Hey, Michaela. Uh, so I wasn't going to drink till then. I'm just here to see you get. It might happen, Nick. That just may happen because this stuff is so good, guys. If you've never had a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Label, I know it's crazy expensive, and I don't make a habit out of it. As a matter of fact, I would never buy it. Stephanie bought it for me at my retirement. That's why I don't roll like that. It is just different level delicious when it hits your lips. It really is. Hey, Beth. Mhm. I'm just going to top off, and then we're going to get started and let the questions roll, home sizzles. Just let it roll. Don't hold nothing back. Okay? And let me say, just from the start here, this one, this sip, salud. Hey, Kim, to the haters that will watch this after the fact when it's not live, so I can't tell who's watching. This is for you. I love you guys. It must be hitting me fast because I put the bottle on the coaster. All right, guys, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's have a good open discussion about e-collar training, low-level e-collar training, high-level e-collar training, punishment. Let's talk about everything. Okay. Uh, thanks, Lucy. Let's talk about it. Okay. And let's not beat around the bush. Let's be honest because people need it. People need it. There's so much confusion out there still, guys, and it's unacceptable. There shouldn't be so much confusion and so much conflict over this. Okay. So let's not beat around the bush. Let's jump right into it. So Ivan put out a podcast, very good podcast, a long podcast about why he doesn't agree with low-level e-collar training. Okay. I'm sure most of you have seen it because I see so many conversations going on about it. And somehow I always get dragged into this. I used to say I don't know why. I understand why now. I'm not an idiot. I get it. Okay. So I watched the whole thing. Um, so the first question is, what did I think about it? Well, I think a lot of you may be surprised, but I thought it was very good. I thought it was a lot of great information. Um, I have a ton of respect for Ivan's ability as a trainer. I think when it's all said and done, and 30 years from now, 40 years from now, when we're all gone, I think he will go down as one of the greatest to ever do it. I really do. He definitely thinks a different way. He's been crazy successful, and the guy is phenomenal at what he does. With that being said, there's a lot of world class, phenomenal trainers out there that do things different ways, right? Very different, especially including with the e-collar. Everyone trains a little differently, but a lot of people train the same too. So the e-collar stuff, it's still so controversial, right? It's so crazy, and I understand. I'm always going to be dragged into it for multiple reasons. But two things. So here's the thing. I thought it was very good, and I do agree with most of what Ivan said. There is no disagreement there for me. Okay. I get a lot of people who label the way I use the e-collar as a way that they believe I do, even though I've talked about it at nauseum over the years, right? But they still like to focus on a couple of little things. So, yes, I do agree with Ivan on most of the things he was talking about. So, let's talk about some of the things he mentioned, right? So the big thing was he doesn't believe in the conditioning process, right? He says it's not necessary. And I understand where he's coming from totally. I really do. And in many ways, I don't disagree with that, but there's more to it. Okay. Um, One of the big things he talks about and touches on is using low level stimulation, right? This is where we run into a lot of problems, guys. And I see it daily from people who are very proud to write in and talk about the success they had with low level stimulation to stop this and stop that. I only had to use a 3. I only had to use a 5. My dog don't go over this. And here's the thing, guys. You guys who are focused on that, you are wrong. And I do agree with Ivan on that. Okay. When you're trying to stop behaviors with the e-collar, using low level stimulation is not effective, and it hurts you more than it helps you. Now people are really confused because they think that's what I'm a big believer in. Never said that. As a matter of fact, I've always said the opposite, but we'll go further, okay? Another thing I've said for years, and this is something I learned from Bart first, okay? No one else, but one of the first things I took from Bart. When you want to stop a behavior, no matter what you're using, but let's stick with the e-collar here, and you start on low levels, and you correct the dog with the e-collar on a low level, and the dog stops. Then an hour later, or 10 minutes later, or the next day, the dog does it again. You use the same low level, the dog stops. Then you continue. Then the dog won't stop, and you go a little higher. Then you go a little higher. When you start low and continue to increase it that way, 100% your dog will adapt to take the highest level corrections. Again, something that I've talked about for years, nothing new. So again, I agree with everything he said there. But yet people are still hung up and so focused on those low numbers because they don't understand classical conditioning, because they don't understand punish, because they don't understand training in itself. They don't understand how the dog learns. The dog, they don't understand how the dog learns how to not do things either, right? So that's a problem. That's a problem. He touched on how one of the big issues in the training world and one of the big issues that makes the purely positive people so anti e-collar is because of the overuse of it. 100%. Again, I couldn't agree more with that. That is true. Again, I've preached for so long about the misuse of this tool. Everything I've ever done with the e-collar from day one on social media had to do with not trying to sell shit, not trying to get you to join my Patreon or my school. I put out a $10 book that Amazon gets a big chunk of that, with tons of grammatical errors and spelling errors and all kinds of mistakes in it, because I don't care about that shit or trying to be an author and trying to impress anyone. I wanted to put out the information so people would stop frying and screwing up their dogs. And I can tell you, I have most certainly succeeded there. So 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, whenever I put that book out, and I thought maybe it'd help a few dozen people, it has sold thousands and thousands and thousands of copies, and the feedback has been 99% outrageously positive, right? At $10 a book, and I get a small percentage of that because Amazon takes everything, I've made six figures off that book. Now, that's not to say, like, look at me, I make all this. It's the opposite. I'm not scared to tell people the truth about everything. What I'm trying to point out is it has sold so many copies because it did what I wanted it to do. Okay? I wanted people to stop frying and destroying the dogs. And the people that were scared to use it, I wanted to show them a different way. And I think I've done pretty good there. I didn't invent nothing, I didn't create anything, right? So I think, like when Ivan said, I think Martin Dealey was one of the first people to start with the low level stuff, right? As far as I know. And then, of course, Bart Ballone took the e-collar to a whole different level and still is, right? Most consider him the godfather of modern dog training. The e-collar was a big different thing, the performance that Bart got out of dogs. So see, I'm not scared to talk about and name names and do this, because a lot of that podcast and everything said, it's not to do with me. Some of it is. I'm just the easier target than talking about a lot of the big fish out there. I totally accept that, right? So when I did the first podcast with Ivan, nobody wanted to do it. So I stepped up. I knew how it was going to go, exactly how it was going to go. But I thought it was an important conversation to have. And if I have to be the one to do it, I'd rather some other people do it that are more qualified than me. But if I have to be the one to do it, then I'm going to step up and do it, right? And that conversation went exactly how I expected. So in this last one, I thought there was a lot of great information, but people like to pick and choose and only focus on the things that they want to hear or don't want to hear, right? So is it overused? Holy shit, absolutely. Not even close. I've been fortunate enough to work with hundreds of people over the past few years through doing all these seminars. And I watch when people come in, talk about this all the time. And I can't tell you how many times almost everyone comes in with an e-collar and I see the red light just going constantly because people are nervous. They're scared of their dog acting up. So any little movement, they're nailing the dog, right? That's not dog training. And what you're doing is doing nothing good. So again, I agree with Ivan completely on this stuff. Now, with that being said, Sippy, with that being said, so I have hundreds and hundreds of witnesses just at the seminars. You could talk to the hosts, you could talk to Joel and Jay, people I do a lot of these seminars with. The amount of times we've used e-collars at these seminars with problems with anything, I can count on less than one hand. Less than that, all these years. So people just assume I'm reliant on the e-collar, right? It couldn't be further from the truth. Normally, I make them take the e-collar off because they've already done so much damage, right? Already done so much damage. So what do? It comes off immediately. Again, 100% correct. He is way over usage. Let's look at my own dogs. So I'm training Dante. Dante hopefully will be my first IGP dog. And it's a lot of work. Like it is just so much work, right? A lot of work to try to get everything in that I need to accomplish with him to be able to get through all this stuff. Dante's 15 months old now. Guess how many times I've had an e-collar on him in all the training I've done, all the behaviors I need to to really get down in a certain way to be good for the sport, right? The tracking, the protection, the obedience, all the different behaviors I'm working on. I'm working on mostly tracking and healing, but of course, with the healing comes the down in motions, the sit in motions, the stand in motions, all that stuff, right? The coming to you, all these different things, the different changes of seats. Guess how many times I've had an e-collar on my dog? Zero. Not a single one. Not a single one. Not one single time. How many times do you see e-collars on my dogs? You don't. Now, if I have to get in there and towards the end, if I have to clean things up and make them a little better, can I using that tool? Absolutely, 100%. But that dog is trained, and everything was trained through positive reinforcement. So we have people that don't really know how to train behaviors. We have people that don't really know how to stop behaviors, and they're using e-collars. That's a problem. So again, I agree with him with that. 100%. So there's nothing there that I disagree with. Okay. And if you guys want to remind me of more of the subjects that you want to touch on, you just post it in here, right? Now, let's get to that conditioning part, using the low levels. Where should I start? Because there's a lot, right? Joey, who does a lot of good IGP. I always train and title IGP1 before. Yeah, totally. I totally get it, Joey. 100%. But people just assume things about me. You know what I mean? Now, let's talk about that low level conditioning. Why this is where, in this area, where I don't agree with everything. Okay. And I'm speaking from experience here. The problem I have with that is there's a big area when we talk about that we're not discussing, that we're not focusing on. And that is the human end of the leash. That's important. So we're talking about the dog a lot. What's best for the dog? How does the dog learn? But when it comes to the e-collar stuff and the conditioning and whatever else, we're not focusing on the human end of the leash. And that matters. That matters a lot. Well, what do I mean by that? If you understand behavior very well, if you understand it well, and you decide you're going to put on the e-collar on your dog, and let's say you're only going to use it for negative reinforcement in obedience, right? In obedience. So we're not using it to stop unwanted behaviors. We're only using it for negative reinforcement. Let's say you have a dog that gives you plenty of opportunities. Let's just use the recall, for example. Let's say your dog knows a recall very well, but he takes his chances and don't always respond when you want him to. Now, let's say if we're out and open and we don't even have a leash on the dog, because let's talk about someone who has a well-trained dog, okay? Now, let's say you're going to start implementing that e-collar and you have a high drive working dog that does very well, but if he gets a scent and stuff, he's going to take his chances and you can't really get to him until you get to him to implement any correction or punishment, right? So now, if you were to go down to low-level e-collar stuff with a dog like that, to start conditioning the dog, and you're going to use it before the command, that's not necessary. And here's why. The dog's going, if he's blowing you off, he's giving you the opportunity. If you say, Rex, come, and he doesn't, now you have an opportunity to use little higher levels. And that's where people are very unclear. Well, most people are looking for the lowest level possible. And then where many are making the mistake, and what scares me about that conversation is, I told someone this yesterday, I know the very next day, a lot of people would run out and experiment and say, screw the conditioning, screw all the low levels, this and that, crank up the e-collar and try to do what they think other people are doing, right? That's where the dog's going to lose out every time. Every time. So you're talking about that tool in the hands of someone that shouldn't be using it. That's the majority of people. Let's be honest. That's the majority of people. So if you're going to try to use it like Ivan or other sport dog people that are very successful and use it in that similar fashion, you're going to fail. You don't stand a chance because you don't understand the behavior and you can't train properly with a leash. That's a problem. So when people try to do that, right, it's an issue. So now when you take someone with no dog training ability, as a matter of fact, they're not even starting at zero. They're in the negative, like they're way behind. You have to work with these people, which is a lot of the people that I have to work with, that I get, that I deal with. And I'm grateful for that, right? Because it certainly makes you a better teacher. So let's talk about those people. No ability whatsoever. Sippy. Now, if you try to get someone like that to utilize an e-collar that way, which by the way, they shouldn't be utilizing an e-collar at all, but people do it. People do it. They can't do it. They're going to struggle and they're going to make a ton of mistakes. And yes, they're going to destroy a lot of dogs. And anyone who doesn't believe that, myself and many others, work with these people and those dogs every day. You folks that have come to my seminars, we've never had a seminar where there's not at least a couple of dogs that show up that have been destroyed on the e-collar by the same people over and over by being blasted, right? Completely destroyed. Now, to be fair to what we're talking about, yes, those dogs were destroyed by high level, inappropriate corrections and punishment. To be fair, a lot of those people also start off with low level e-collar training. Okay? So we have to be fair. So you have the people that start off and they're proud to be on low numbers and low levels and they stay there and they never have much success and it does the dog more harm than good because they do become very accustomed to it. And then you find yourself having to go much higher and you get pissed and frustrated and then you destroy the dog. We see it every day. So let's just be honest. Let's have a totally honest conversation here, right? So I get it. But then we also see the people that put the e-collar on day one and attempt to stop behaviors. Those dogs and those people I see and talk to 365 days a year. 365 days a year. Get out of this for 1 second. Okay, let me see this here. Let's see if I can pull this up. All right. Here's one of my emails. Just one. I don't know if you guys could read that at the top. That number. Can you see it? That is 59,573 unread emails. I have 3 emails. That's one of them. A big chunk of those emails are exactly the thing I'm talking about. Dogs that have been completely destroyed by other e-collar trainers. Think about that. 59,563 unread emails. So when I go to a seminar and someone gets upset at me because I didn't return their email, I have to show them that and say, I don't do it to be an asshole. I'm not seeing your emails. That's how many people contact me every single day begging for help because they've been through trainer after trainer after trainer and their dog was fried on the e-collar. Fried. And so when I sought out about 15 years ago, I think when I made my first e-collar video, very unbelievably boring like they are to this day. It was to give instruction to that everyday dog owner that was struggling and their dog was fried or they were frying their dog, and we were trying to change that. Okay. So, what the low level conditioning does is it makes it safe for everyone, because most people who will use that tool, if I say don't use it, if Ivan says don't use it, if Bart says don't use it, if anyone says don't use it, they're still going to use it, or they're going to find someone that will. We have to be honest and realistic with this bullshit, guys. Right? And so I've never hid anything, and I gave it away for free. I didn't create anything. I didn't invent anything. I didn't put my name on like, hey, this is the Larry Krohn method. No, I just took what I liked from many other people and made it and bottled it in a way that it would benefit anyone. Right? So the one thing I tell people, and you have to remember, before I did it this way, I did it the other way. In the classical conditioning order, where I only used the stimulation after the command. I did it that way. And I did it successfully, but here's the problem. Again, let's go back to my own dogs. Let's say when I introduced Luca to the e-collar, he was 9 months old, already extremely highly trained. You guys saw his first video when he was 9 weeks old, so I put everything out in the world for people to see, right? He was a well-trained dog. When I introduced him to the e-collar at 9 months old, let's say if we tried to do it the standard way we normally do it, especially back then, to where we give the command, the dog hesitates, don't respond prompt enough, and then we follow up with the e-collar after as an aversive in the form of negative reinforcement. Let's say we do that, right? That's great, but here's the problem. Luca, Buddy, Bruno, Dante, all my dogs, and a lot of people out there have dogs that respond very quickly when you call them or whatever you're giving them. And then you don't get a lot of opportunity to give them the opportunity to learn how to escape the negative reinforcement so they can later and very quickly, and the end goal, learn how to avoid it, right? So we're talking about negative reinforcement. We're talking about escape and avoidance training. In order for the dog to learn how to escape it, to avoid it, they have to learn how to escape it, correct? So with some dogs that respond very well and they're on you, you have a few different options. But one of the options, which someone else taught me several years ago, was initiate the e-collar just before the command. So then when you give the dog the command, you know he's going to respond quickly, you can quickly remove it. The dog learns how to quickly remove it. So now the dog learns how to escape it both ways, with it after the command, when he gives you the opportunity, and before the command, right? So like some of my buddies on here that I see, they have dogs that respond really well, and they struggle trying to do that like that when they're out with their dogs, because every time they call their dog, the dog responds. Or they ask the dog to sit, the dog sits. They ask the dog to go away in place, the dog does it. So they're having a hard time getting any repetitions in there to teach the dog how to escape it so they can learn how to avoid it. Okay? The one thing that I noticed very quickly when I changed it to this, back then there were some dogs that would be a little down in the dumps. I'm talking about some of the weak dogs, right? You got to remember, pet dog trainers deal with some really weak, shitty dogs. Really weak, shitty dogs. So a lot of times, for a few days, the dogs might be a little confused and down in the dumps, even though we're providing very clear communication to them. But they're not people, and all dogs respond differently. Some dogs, give you another example. If you take a dog that has had a bad experience with underground fence, we get them all the time, right? They turn around very quickly. The problem is when you get one that's had really bad experiences, meaning they keep blowing through it and then they're getting their ass annihilated trying to get back in. A couple of those cases have been very difficult. And what I noticed very early on with those dogs is when you give the command and the dog hesitates, and then you follow up with that e-collar, yeah, it would get bad sometimes. And what I saw was the dogs didn't recover. But on the flip side, when you implemented very low level stimulation, that's right, I said very low, before they still had a problem. But by helping them show them how to remove it, they were able to get through things and get over things very, very quickly. So not all dogs are the same, but again, all people aren't the same. So when you're working with a lot of motivated people, right, especially in any kind of competition world, sport dog stuff, you have people that want to be better. You have people that want to be better trainers. They want to learn more. That is wonderful working with people like that. The problem is in the pet dog world, they just want their bad behaviors fixed. A lot of them don't care about getting better, right? So you have to look at the totality of everything. And that makes it very, very difficult. But here's the problem again. And here's where I'm going to agree with Ivan. So he says it's unnecessary, the conditioning phase. I don't agree with that part for some of the reasons I just mentioned. But what I do agree with is people stay there way too long. It's not necessary. Now, I've made people stay there long. I have, especially in the past, but not because of the dog, because of the people. I do things differently now where I just don't allow people to ever touch an e-collar until they're really well trained where they get it. That's the one thing I have changed over the past few years, right? Where before I focused really hard on them understanding the timing and the mechanics and making sure they understood it. And then I'd keep them there a little longer than necessary, not for the dog, for the human. So they wouldn't make the mistakes using higher levels and destroy their dog because they're going to make mistakes. They all do. As a matter of fact, that first time we do that stuff, I tell them, you're going to screw this up all week. You guys have heard me say this. You're going to screw it up, guaranteed. But when we do it this way, you're not going to screw the dog up, right? Now, if I tell them, let's start off a little higher, right? Let's just say you're using a mini educator, 0 to 100. So instead of using those lowest levels available, a 6 to an 8, where most dogs feel a little something, now let's say we're just starting at a 15 or a 20. Little firmer, aversive, negative reinforcement, right? But now you're dealing with someone that doesn't understand the timing of anything. Should they be using an e-collar? No, but they're going to. And that's what you have to understand. They're going to. And if you don't try to help them and educate them, they're going to do it on their own, or they're going to watch a video of some douchebag, letting a dog go in a dishwasher and says, hold the button down for 3 seconds while it's on 100. And we all know that doesn't work. And what it does is destroy dog after dog after dog, right? Every single day, 365 days of year, I deal with someone whose dog is completely destroyed when it just sees the e-collar because someone put it on with no ability to train, no knowledge of training, no preparation, and the dog does something they don't want, or the dog doesn't come with called, and they crank it up and they blast the dog and they hold the button down, which again is wrong, right? And now you have a dog that's destroyed. So when people say you can't destroy a dog with punishment, it's imagination, no, that's bullshit. We see the dogs constantly. We see them at the seminars. We see them in public. I show the videos. I interview the people when they show up and tell me, okay, what have you done with this dog? Was the dog trained? And you hear the stories and you see the dog. The dogs don't lie, right? So for me, my goal, Sippy, let's talk about my dogs again. So anyone who doubts this, if you go back and you look at Buddy, my golden doodle, let's not talk about the Malinois. Let's not talk about the Shepherds and the Rottweilers. When you look at Buddy, the golden doodle, you can go back 7 years when he was a baby, 5 months old. When we built this house that I'm sitting in right now, we moved in January. It was the winter. We didn't have any landscaping, didn't have any grass, and everything was mud, right? My other two dogs are running around off leash, not with e-collars on, but I could tell them, hey, Nuh-uh, get out of there. Don't go over there. And they know not to go in the mud. They're trained, right? They understand my language. I couldn't do that with Buddy at 5 months old. And so he was living on a long line, not because he would run away. He had a great recall, but because he didn't understand you can't go play in the mud. You're a dumb doodle and you're going to go play in the mud. And I can't have that, right? So one day I came home from work and I told Sophia, Buddy was really Sophia's dog, and Sophia was 9 years old. And I said, Sophia, I feel so bad about Buddy being on a leash. Our dogs are never on a leash. I said, we're going to fix that today. Over the next couple of days, we're going to get Buddy off leash with the e-collar on so we can keep him out of the mud. Okay. So I filmed it, and they're shitty videos, like all of my videos, and they're on YouTube, but they were for people to see. So how long did I spend conditioning Buddy to the e-collar before he was off leash and I could trust him and I didn't have to use it anymore? It was day 2, right? So I spent a couple of short sessions day 1 conditioning Buddy to the e-collar, meaning, yes, at the low levels, turning on the stimulation, which he doesn't know what it means, because the other thing I do disagree with, I believe that electricity is foreign to a dog and doesn't have the same response to a dog as physical touch or a leash. And a lot of them show that. So I turn it on, just like I did with all the dogs, show him how to turn it off by coming to me, great. So then now by day 2, we're out of that. Day 3, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now the e-collar is there only when I need it, like all my dogs, all my clients' dogs. You don't see any of my clients walking around with an e-collar in their hand. If they did, they'd be fired. They'd be fired. Because to me, that is one of the biggest turnoffs in all of dog training. If you have to walk around with an e-collar in your hand all the time, give up what you're doing. You're not a dog trainer. You're just not a dog trainer. And if you're just a dog owner, your dog trainer failed you. If you think you have to walk around and threaten the dog or just be ready when he makes a mistake and he be hitting the button all the time, right? Not so. So this isn't something recent. You can go back to Buddy. Now, let's talk about Bruno. Bruno was the first dog I ever used an e-collar on. So anyone who doesn't know me, I was very anti-e-collar because I grew up as a hunter as a kid, and my introduction to e-collars were seeing the hunting dogs out in the field with e-collars and really bad training. And I watched dog after dog run away from their owners, and the owners just blasting their dogs with harsh e-collars that didn't have adjustable levels, with these big giant remotes and antennas, and the dog just screaming and running faster and further away from the owner. So I was like, why would someone do that to a dog? I was so anti e-collar, right? Then I started seeing some people use them very differently, and it piqued my interest, and I had a lot of curiosity, and I started asking questions. And I was already training dogs, and I was doing a damn good job training dogs with a leash and a flat collar. And my wife pushed me to go after this and learn more and do some training and whatever ever. Sippy. So Bruno, who a lot of people had seen all over the country and said, man, this is the best trained dog I ever seen. How'd you train him? Was that the e-collar stuff? No, he never had an e-collar on. He was 4 years old or 5 years old before he ever saw one. He was trained with a leash and a flat collar. No food, no prong collars, no e-collars, right? So he was my first dog that I started learning on. And back then, what I learned to do, again, this goes back to what Ivan was talking about. Every time you give the command, press the button at the same time on the e-collar. Same time. And you do that every time you give a command. You want to see some dogs that are down in the dumps for a few days? Bruno was the most upbeat dog I'd ever seen. He did everything I asked him to do. He was everything to me. He made me look much better than I was. And for 3 days, Bruno looked like shit, sad and down in the dumps. And I went to people that were teaching me and I said, this ain't right. And they said, hey, just give him 3. By day 4, he'll be fine. The worst thing that ever happened was day 4, he was fine, right? But then you're still supposed to press the button every time you give a command. I'm thinking, what the fuck is this? So for 1 year, I tried to go along with this reasoning because maybe I don't know everything, right? And this is 15 years ago. But I knew this isn't right. This doesn't make any sense. Why would I push the button and give the command at the same time? That makes no sense. So I had to stop. And that's when I started seeking out different ways from different people. And gratefully, I got a hold of some very good people and learned a different way. So again, what Ivan was talking about, I don't ever use the e-collar at the same time as I give a command. Ever. I don't do it. But here's the other thing. After that initial 1 or 2 days where I teach the dog how to escape it, both ways, I never, ever use the e-collar before a command. Ever. I don't do it. So there's a lot of douchebags out there that like to suck on the titty of popular dog trainers because they have nothing on their own, right? They go home, they have no woman or man to go home to. They're by themselves. They only have the dogs. There's a lot of masturbation going on. They don't have anything going for them. So they have to suck on the titty of someone else and put someone else's name on their shirt. I don't want anyone else's name on my fucking shirt. I'll put my own name on my shirt. I don't care who it is. No one's important enough to me to put their name on my shirt. Okay? Nobody. And so if you're so insecure and lack so much self-respect that you need someone else's name on your shirt, you got to work harder at life. You're failing. And I hope you find success. And on that, I'm going to say, Sippy, got to refill. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean there's not a lot of trainers that I respect a great deal out there. Absolutely. Because I always give credit where credit is due. But there comes a time where if I'm going to keep being used in different scenarios and classrooms and videos, well, then I have to give up that respect that I give people and be who I really am, especially now that I don't have the government breathing down my throat when I do something inappropriate. Right. And that's never a good look. And I don't want to do that. But sometimes people make it very, very difficult to be decent to them. Right. I'll give you an example. So I'm a big part of Ivan's class, meaning used in videos, as some others. And I remember someone I know asked a question. Well, why does that one guy, meaning me, do it before and after? And they couldn't. The only answer I think they came up with was to try to be creative. I think it was, which is silly, because if you literally paid attention to everything I've done and said over the years, you know the answer. You know the answer. But a lot of the comments, so I went through all the comments, and again, I thought it was a great podcast, great valuable information. I agree with most of it. But when I go through all the comments, I see some of the names and they're all like, oh yeah, my God, you're the best. I love you. Suck, 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 suck. Give me your name, right? But then I look at some of these people, I'm like, motherfucker. Yeah, of course you agree, but I've seen what you've done to dogs. I've seen it. I've trained some of the dogs that you've completely fried with your non-low level levels, just using it as a punishment because you don't know what you're doing. So don't attach yourself to anything. I see it. I've worked with these dogs and I'm like, should I call these people out? Should I play the interview with their owners when they say who trained their dog and then we show what they did with their dog? I could do that, right? And that would really hurt those people, but I don't. I don't. What other subjects did you want to cover on there? There was something else I really wanted to talk about too, and I can't think of it offhand because I keep doing that damn sippy thing. So as I keep doing the sippy thing, it'll get harder to remember, right? But so yeah, with me, so let's say with Dante. With Dante, I filmed his whole e-collar process, and I was going to show it. It was over 2 days. That's the extent of his e-collar training, 2 days. No different than any other dog. But the problem is, I filmed this and I'm thinking, I've done this so many times. I've shown it so many times. There is absolutely nothing. It's so boring. Like, why am I going to show this? And I didn't. So what did I do? I think 2 or 3 5 to 10 minute sessions with him day one. And then day two, maybe 1 or 2 more sessions. And then that's it. That's it. Then the e-collar is there if I need it when we go out in public. I don't know the last time that I utilized it. There were a couple of things that Dante was hesitant about at times, sometimes, right? So I used that to my advantage to use the aversive after the command at a higher level so he knows you can't do this. Here were the 2 things. Sippy. When me and Dante are done training and playing, Dante's a very, very independent dog, right? I've talked about this before. My buddy Terry McCormick, who bred him up in Massachusetts, like, he's such a reputable guy. I love everything Terry does when it comes to the breeding because he's no bullshit. And the one thing that he kept telling me, he only had 1 male in the litter. He knew I planned on competing with him. And do you think Terry said, who's produced some really nice dogs? I've seen them, right? Do you think Terry said, oh, yeah, this dog's going to be the best? He's everything for you? No. Terry kept saying, Larry, I don't know if this is the right dog for you. Like, while his siblings are over here playing and interacting, he likes to go lay down by himself and he's very independent. That's what Terry told me from day one. That's a good dude, right? In other words, Larry, I don't know if this is the right dog for you if you want to compete. And I said, Terry, I don't care. He'll be fine. He will be fine. I'm not worried about it, right? Well, guess what? And he didn't have a lot of drive, too, when he was young. Now he's a crackhead, but he's still very independent, right? So, for example, my buddy Kyle came over yesterday to pick up Henry. Oh, I love Henry so much. And I was in the middle of working with Dante. And I stopped to talk to Kyle, and Dante came over after a while to say hello to Kyle and just kind of leaned up against him. But what did he do after? He went and laid off by himself and just laid down away from, and that's what he likes. So when me and him are training or playing, he's a savage, right? Beautiful dog. But the second I'm done, or he thinks I'm done, he's going to go lay down by himself. Even if I sit on the ground, he'll run over and love on me, but then he likes to be by himself. And I let him. So the 2 things that he would hesitate on when I told him to do, because he is hard-headed, is sometimes when we were done playing and we were going back in the house, I said, come on, Dante, let's go. And we'd be headed to the house, and he'd start running, and he'd go back because he didn't want to go in. He wanted to go lay by himself. He does that. And then I get pissed. Hey, let's go. And sometimes he'd start running and go back. I say, okay, fucker, we're going to fix that. And the other thing is sometimes when we come in the house and I tell him to kennel, sometimes he'll run down the hallway and then want to come back and dilly-dally. It's okay. So now here's my advantage. Here's where I'm going to use the e-collar, not on the lowest level perceived, on a higher aversive level that he's not going to like, right? Do I remember what that level was? No. But let's say if we go from 0 to 100 on a mini educator, let's say I was probably at, if I had to guess, because I honestly don't remember, in the 30s or 40s. In the 30s or 40s, if I did that to Mango, even Luca, they would be like, holy shit, you just destroyed my life. Very dramatic. To Buddy, very dramatic. That is bad. That hurts. I don't like this. To Dante, that ain't shit, right? But high enough to get his attention and not like it. Not like it, right? So I knew he was going to give me the opportunity. So right along when we were training with the e-collar stuff, that day or the day after, whatever, we did our playing and training. There's no e-collar usage. Then I say, come on, Dante, let's go. But now remember, he's had the e-collar on for a few days prior. It wasn't just put on him, right? So now I say, come on, let's go. And he comes running over and then he goes back in. And I just tapped him on that 30, 40, whatever it was. And what did he do? He stopped, he turned around and he came, oh, okay, I get it. Because all I did was implement the aversive after I gave the command and he didn't comply to something that he knows very well already. There was no figuring it out. I didn't have to call him again. I didn't have to say no. I didn't have to say nothing. Okay. The second opportunity was again the next day, and he wore it for several days after that, by the way. He did give me the opportunity again. We went in the house and I knew he'd be fired up and he went running down after I told him to kennel. And the second he started running, I just tapped, he hit the brakes, he came, went in his kennel. Do you think he ever did it again? No, no, no. It wasn't the lowest level perceived. He had only had 2 days of training. So for me, contrary to what a lot of douchebags think, right? A lot of people sucking on the titties of others, living on their coattails. Oh, those haters watching this now. Here's for you, Sippy. Yeah, babe. I didn't have a lot. I'm just being passionate. I'm okay. My wife is trying to correct me. Okay, babe. Everyone said hello. Um, yeah, Kelly, absolutely. Absolutely. But not everyone has $10,000, Kelly, to pay for his course. And so people think that he has some kind of method or different way. And no. And if he did, I wouldn't share it because I've been respectful from everything in the course, right? I wouldn't share it with people. But there's so much bullshit that goes on here with all of this. With all of this. And I think taking shots, I don't care if people take shots at me. I'm not important. That's what I don't understand. I'm not important in this whole dog thing. So why people care so much about me, I'll never know. But I do find it highly disrespectful, some of the other people that are being targeted that don't deserve it, that have done so much in the dog world. And I won't bring their names into it because I don't want to put them on the spot. But I do find it, I don't give a shit when people do that to me. But there's a lot of really phenomenal people out there, high level people that do train more the way that we're talking about. It's not, was talked down about in that podcast that do a damn good job, right? Do I do it? No, it's not my thing. So again, after that first day or two, for me, do I ever use the e-collar to activate a dog? No, I don't. Do I ever use the e-collar at the same time as a command to reinforce a command? No, I don't. For me, the e-collar is there for only when I need it and not at the lowest level perceived. I told you someone sent me a video a few weeks ago of some other fucking trainer, pet dog trainer, talking how I'm anti-punishment with the e-collar. No, no, don't pick and choose what you want to listen to, asshole. Pay attention to everything. The difference is when you teach it the way I do, or the way Ivan does, right? I'm not saying and if you watched our first podcast, I never disagreed. I never said he was wrong. Did it. I just said there's a lot of reasons why I'm right, and it's the people that I'm talking about. Will I correct a dog with the absolutely? I've done it on lives. I've done it in live in real time. I've shown it, and I've listen. There may be people that show more training for free than I do, but not many. Not many, right? And I can put my dogs. This is something that a lot of people can't say, is including a lot of the people that make comments on that bullshit that like just talk out their ass. I could put my dogs up against anyone, right? Now everybody wants to say, you know, an IGP. What the fuck does that matter? If I've never trained for it, what do I care? Do you think that that's the only measure of someone that's great with the dog? Because I know a lot of damn great trainers that have never competed in IGP or French ring or Mondio ring. Phenomenal trainers, right? Guys who understand the behavior through and through. And I know a lot of phenomenal trainers that have trained in those sports, very much so. I've been a big fan of the working dog side, and I've pushed the pet dog people that way probably more than anyone, right? What have I been screaming for years in the pet dog world? Guys, you got to learn from the working dog people. You have to. They're the best in the world. So that's something I've been very supportive and very big in believing. But enough is enough here, guys. Enough is enough. It's creating too much confusion, and now people don't know what the hell they're doing. And what scares me is now people are going to run out, forget all the low level stuff, forget the conditioning, and people have no idea what the hell they're doing with a dog, going to crank up the e-collar and just start blasting away. And guess what, guys? That's what they did for the last 40 or 50 years, whatever it's been, and it didn't work because people are not going to take the time to become great trainers. And in order to be able to do that, you have to really know what you're doing. It's failed for years. So why do you think it's going to work now? Please explain. Someone explain this to me. I'm going to go here in the comments. Please explain this to me. Oh, we got a lot of freaking comments. I might have to do a sippy here. All right, sippy. Brandon, anyone with a little dog behavior knowledge stumbles across that podcast, they're going to be lighting up their dogs. Brandon, 100%. Bingo. This home sizzle right here, Brandon Fabry. It may be Fabrice or Fabrice, but I like Fabry because right now I want you to be French, Brandon. 100%. That's my point. Anyone with little dog behavior knowledge stumbles across that podcast, they're going to be lighting up their dogs. 100 fucking percent. That's everything I've screamed about for the past 15 years. So you can make me the bad guy, but when it comes to the dog, I actually care about the dog. I don't have anything to sell. I don't give you a little bit of information and then say, buy this, join this. I give you the information. Do I have all the information or the best information or the only information that's correct? No. But I do my best to enlighten the everyday dog owner. And guess what? Tens of thousands of emails, not hundreds, not thousands, tens of thousands of emails from all over the world kind of remind me that I'm doing okay on the average person part. And that's all I care about, guys. That's all I care. I've never sought out to try to train people that I don't have the skill level or ability to do so, right? But I tell you what, I'm going to tell you the first time I ever showed up to, back then, I think it was IPO field, which again, please my IPO people, I have nothing but love. And I know there's going to be so many people praying that I fail, and I may, I don't know. Nothing but respect. But the first time I showed up to an IPO field, this is what confused me. I watched someone working a Malinois, but the person working the dog, the handler and the trainer, didn't have an e-collar. The dog had an e-collar on, but someone standing off to the side had the big old style Tritronics e-collar, right? And I watched that person off to the side frying this dog from a distance while it wasn't doing exactly what the handler was asking. And I'm going, what is this? You know, I was fairly new to following the sport, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. And then someone said something that pissed me off. I had Bruno with me. I had my Rottweiler with me, or one of my Rottweilers with me. And they said something about him like, yeah, he's not like that. He's just an idiot with muscles or something, right? No brains, all muscle. I said, really? I said, my dog will smoke that dog in everything you're doing out here right now with the obedience and the protection. And they laughed. And I didn't train in that. I said, well, let's work my dog. No e-collars on. And I took Bruno out there, and he had never seen those pictures, but we did a few things with him. And I did. He was 10 times better than that Malinois that they had been working for a long time that was just a nerve bag and scared to make a mistake. Ivan doesn't promote that. That's not the point here, right? Not even close. But a lot of the people that are jumping on that side of things, that's how they train. They're just as dangerous as the purely positive people, you know? But so now let's talk about the punishment side of things. Again, agree 100%, but I've talked about this till nauseum, but people don't want to pay attention to it. When your dog's doing something like jumping on counters or digging holes or getting in the garbage, You are out of your mind. I saw someone comment on that. I can't remember who it was. And they said, yeah, low levels doesn't work for pica. I can't remember who it was. Someone I know. I just can't remember who. Yeah, no shit. No shit. The problem is people want to be entertained online and at seminars, but they don't want to put in the fucking time to truly educate themselves. And I'm so over lazy fucking people. I refuse to work with any lazy people anymore, right? I just got a question from someone with a Malinois puppy. I almost wanted to post it to show people what I deal with on a daily basis because I honestly thought it was a joke at first. I honestly thought it was a joke. And I was going to respond, and it was going to be in a not very nice way. And then I thought of my wife in my ear, and what would she say? She'd say, "Don't engage. Don't engage." That's what she would say. You hear that stuff? I channeled you, Sippy. I'm not stopping the drinking, right? What was pivot? Anyone know what that's from? Pivot. Answer. Someone give me an answer. What's that from? Pivot. I bet no one knows. Um, yeah, like I'm looking at this and I'm like, is this for real? Is this for real? Oh, damn, Jimmy, he got it. He said friends. Everyone, yes, Nikki. Pivot. They all got it. I was about to give something very nice away, and I'm so glad I did it now. Because they're pivot. Now I'm just doing sippy. I can't stop. It's like addicting. But guys, you guys who know me personally, this shit's important to me, right? I have no financial gain in this shit. None. No financial gain. Absolutely not. There's no links. Again, I have a book that I've never promoted, right? When it first came out, hey, look, my book's out. That's it. Done. Which, by the way, I still get a nice check from many countries all over the world. You know why? You know why? Because it fucking helped people. That's all I care about. So if you claim that the dogs are the most important thing to you, everyone has the right to make a good living, guys. There's no doubt about it. Everyone has the right. And if you've put in the time and effort and spent the money and have the experience to be at a high level and you have that information, you deserve to make a good living. But don't say that the dogs, the well being of the animal is the most important fucking thing to you and then want to charge out the ass for everything. Or you show a 2-minute clip of something and then say, yeah, join my Patreon and you get the rest. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. You can give a shit less about the dog or the average person screwing up their dogs. You're trying to make a good living. So be honest about it at least. There's nothing wrong with it, but don't. My wife is standing in front of me going, I can't help it, Stephanie. I'm getting sweaty. I'm getting very sweaty. This is important to me because I'm so tired of people destroying their dogs. You see that stupid son of a bitch that someone posted 2 days ago again? Where was she? In Alabama? Another asshole destroying a dog? And then you get some jerk off on there saying, you guys don't know about dog training if you think this is bad. Maybe she needed to do that. Guess what? You're as big as a scumbag as she is if you think that's acceptable. See, I have no filter now. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I don't give a shit. So you folks that want to run your mouth and put me in stuff, just know it's going to come back to you because now I'm allowed to do and say what I want. Before, I'd get called in to an office and say, listen, you know, you got a top secret clearance. Every 5 years you go through a background check. We can't have this. Now I got nothing. If I want to eat a gummy bear or two, I can. If I want to say something about anybody, I can. So all I ask, Mary Ann Roberts, Chandler, yeah, the friend stuff is flying. There you go, guys. Listen, we got my kids hooked on Friends a few years ago. It's on this TV every single night, right? Pivot. Yeah, it just you can't forget stuff like that. But guys, we shouldn't have to have this conversation anymore. And so, just like if you remember when me and Ivan did the first podcast, when that whole debacle took place with Merrill, I think it was, and everything, I remember sitting there going, please don't bring my name up. Please don't bring my name. I don't want to be involved. And then my name started showing up. I'm not that important, guys. My name shouldn't show up in this shit. I'm nobody. And my name started showing up. So what did I say? Yeah, I'll jump on it. I'll have the talk. No one else wants to do it. I'll do it. So here we go again. I saw this podcast, which I enjoyed because I did think it was very good. But I also see the negative undertones aimed at certain people, including myself, right? And I'm like, okay, we could talk about this too. We could talk about this too. But federal agent Larry is one dude. Non-federal agent Larry is a whole other guy, right? Now I get back to who I was beforehand, and it's not always the nicest guy. I'm very nice, no different. I love people. I'll treat you very, very well, but I have a little more leeway on how I can respond to things now. Before I couldn't respond to things, guys. I couldn't respond to things the way I wanted to, right? I couldn't do it, but now I can. And so I'm going to start calling people out on some of the bullshit that they put out here and just don't tell people the full truth, right? They don't tell people the full truth. I have never denied someone on going on their live or their interview. I've never turned anyone down, hate me or love me. So yeah, I'll have the conversation. Never. But there's people out there that will say they had me on their live when it wasn't a live. It was recorded because they were too pussy to have me on the live. Some of them wouldn't even talk to me on the phone. Everything had to be recorded just in case I talk about what I know about them. Dead serious. And you want me to go further? Maybe we can go further on some of those people, right? Right? We could do that. We could do that. That's right. I'm from Lodi. Ara, K9 Rex. They're different. Yeah, I just met, man. I just met, you know, I met a buddy of mine tonight that I said I played Little League with. And he's retired law enforcement from Jersey and did a lot of organized crime stuff. If you understood the town that we grew up in and the things that we were around, it's the best thing in the world, right? So if you guys ever watched The Sopranos, that was filmed, a lot of that in my hometown, right? I lived a quarter mile away from Bada Bing, the strip club in The Sopranos. It wasn't really called Bada Bing. It's actually called Satin Dolls, and anyone from Jersey knows that, right? Check this out. The very first episode of The Sopranos. Here's a little trivia for you. The very first episode, the very first scene where Tony and Christopher are driving in Christopher's new Lexus, and they see some guy that owes them money, and they chase him down in the car, and they hit him with the car, and they're beating his ass in front of this office building under this tree. That tree is where me and Stephanie took our wedding pictures. Dead serious. No bullshit. The very first scene. We were so excited. We were watching like this is all our pictures, right? So let's get to some questions, guys, because I've been rambling and this is going on a long time. If I could answer your question, I'm going to answer it honestly. So let's get to them. Let's say, Sippy. This whole live thing is completely ruining my Vegas body, by the way. Now I'm going to have to work a little harder. Let's get to the questions, guys. If you have questions, let them fly. Oh, my race shop was 500 feet from Bada Bing. Okay, Ara, which race shop? What are you talking about? Race for what? Oh, I can't wait, Ryan. I love Dallas. I love Dallas, bro. I love Texas. Why do I have a feeling I'm going to be wearing an e-collar when I'm done 26 with this training? Yeah, maybe. Absolutely, Carolyn. It's time people get put on notice. And I'm going to start sharing a little secrets I know about it. A lot of people. You'd be surprised. Ooh. Any questions, guys? If not, I'll let you go. But if you have questions about any of this, ask them now or forever hold your peace. You see what I did there? I'm looking to see if we have any questions. Listen, guys, I started getting on this tangent. Again, Ivan put out a lot of good stuff in that podcast. I agree with a lot of it. For myself, I don't represent anyone else. I don't subscribe to any systems. I'm not part of anyone. I'm just me, Larry motherfucking Krohn. No one name goes on my shirt. No one's name. No one's that important to me except Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler's name goes on my shirt. Nobody else in dog training. No one in the world of dog training is as important as they think they fucking are. Let's get that straight, right? No one cares. No one knows who any of us are outside of dog training. Nobody. Actually, some lady went up to my wife yesterday in Nashville when they were prom dress shopping and said, "You're Larry Krohn's wife." That's weird. That's weird. Um, all right, let's get. Come on, guys. Ask the question. How do you think IGP guys? How do you become awesome and dashing, Paul? I think it's genetics. A little bit of training, but a little bit of genetics. How do you think IGP guys are using the e-collar later at the I can't answer that, Ara, because I don't speak on something I experienced, but I know a lot of the people I do know are strictly as an aversive, but a lot of them use it very well. A lot of them are, listen, guys, some of these IGP people and Mondio ring people and French ring people are and PSA people. Hey, Nikki, they're phenomenal trainers, right? No one's been a bigger fan and vocal about that side of things than me. But just like the pet dog side of things, you got a lot of shitty people too. You have a lot of really phenomenal trainers in the pet dog world that have never titled a dog. You have a lot of really shitty trainers in the sport dog world that have titled many dogs. So let's not fuck around and bullshit with things here. Let's be honest all the way around. Okay? All the way. I know many people that have titled many dogs that cannot stand next to me and train at my level. 100%. And I'm not the best trainer in the world, right? But training a dog to go through a routine is hard. And it's a lot of work, guys. It's a lot of work. And if you get a dog with the right genetics and you get with the right people and you work really, really hard and consistent, you may get there. But it's a lot of work. And I got nothing but respect for it. It's not easy, right? There's not a lot of people out there that can take a dog that's hiding in the corner and shitting itself because it's scared of the world, or that can take a dog and that wants to kill everything that comes near it and fix those dogs, not temporarily, but change their lives so that 6, 7, 8 years later, they're thriving in their family. There's not a lot of people that could do that. I know because I've been involved in it for so damn long and have worked with so many damn people, right? So we see some of these dogs at these seminars. 9 years, this dog's been trying to kill everything. Dozens of trainers. 2 years, this dog couldn't do this. 6 years, this dog's been trying to kill this. Seminar's not the best place to train a dog, but when you've learned from great people and you keep trying to put forward what you've learned from people and you actually put some effort into being better, we help those people, right? We don't just talk about it, we show it. We show it. A lot of people out there talking, oh, let me put your name on my shirt. Fuck you, man. My name goes on my own shirt. I don't want no one's name on my fucking shirt. How long? All right, let's get to the questions. Eric Skull, I'm going to go through them. Let's just keep this going, people. Larry Krohn, I know your opinion on giving dog shots. What is your opinion on treating for ticks? Guys, let's keep it to the e-collar stuff. Eric, I'll answer this, but let's keep it to this subject. I try to limit the shots. I try to limit all that stuff. But if you're in an area where you need it, you got to use it, or else you're going to just be picking ticks out like crazy, and you definitely don't want your dog to get heartworm. So let's stick to the topic that we're talking about, guys. Okay. So true. Any chance you come to Quebec for e-collar seminar? We have a place for you and your wife. Cindy, I appreciate the offer, but I will never do an e-collar seminar again. Here's why. Sippy. Let me be honest about this. Sorry, the guns are getting a little big and the shirt's getting tight. The first 3 seminars I ever did, the first one was in Nashville. The second one was in Poughkeepsie, New York. The third one was in West Virginia. They were terrible seminars for a few reasons. The biggest reason was it's the first time that I was ever doing them. And it's hard to do a seminar when you don't know what you're doing, right? The second reason was everybody wanted an e-collar seminar because they thought I had some secret tricks and everybody just wanted to. So they were e-collar seminars only, and I had never done them, and they were terrible. There is no magic training with the e-collar. If you are a good trainer and understand classical conditioning, then you know how to use an e-collar. If you are a shitty trainer, you don't understand how to use an e-collar, and you will destroy every dog that you put it on. So it's not about the e-collar training, it's just about the training. So will I do anything that people ask for when it comes to the e-collar? Of course, it's part of it. If you have questions, if you want to work with it, 100%. But there has to be more than that. You just can't focus on that. You know what I mean? Okay. All right. Hold on, where'd that go? Can you explain? All right. Can you explain how e-collar helps nervous and timid dogs? All right, let's talk about that. This came up when me and Ivan did the first seminar, and it was kind of picked apart. And, Ivan said it was really dangerous information and bad information because if someone has a scared or nervous dog and they try to e-collar, and I agree with him. If you didn't read the rest of the book, if you didn't learn anything else before that, right? So, of course, if you just have a scared and nervous dog and you do this, fine, okay? So let's talk about that. If you know what you're doing and you understand how to build the dog up and you understand how to bring out the best in the dog through play, through motivation, which, by the way, there's no one that's been more influential on that side of the coin in the world than Ivan. There's others. Michael Ellis has been phenomenal about it, many people, but there's no one that's been more influential about bringing play into Build a Dog than Ivan, right? So how does an e-collar help nervous and timid dogs? For years I talked about it. I had my suspicions, but I didn't understand the science enough to be able to give a good answer. I think I understand it a lot better now, and here's why. When you're using positive reinforcement, it's rewarding to the dog, correct? Of course, makes sense. When you're using negative reinforcement, when the dog eliminates the pressure, it's rewarding to the dog, correct? When you stop using negative reinforcement, when you stop using positive reinforcement, it's no longer rewarding to the dog. That is one of the biggest downfalls with positive reinforcement. When you only focus on that one quadrant, positive reinforcement, or even two, and negative punishment, when you stop using positive reinforcement, and a lot of people don't know how to use it properly, it's no longer rewarding to the dog. That's going to hurt you. With negative reinforcement, when the dog learns to respond before any aversive can be utilized, the avoidance part, escape avoidance learning, remains rewarding to the dog. So when you take a dog that maybe has never experienced any kind of success, any kind of a win, no one's ever shown it differently except trying to baby it and baby talk it, and do stupid shit that humans do. A lot of those dogs, I believe, for the first time, experience that satisfaction of being self-rewarded through avoiding the aversive. Understanding how to turn the aversive off, the escape part, understanding how to avoid it. And I could tell you through experience, it's extremely powerful. And I've shown it. I don't just talk about it, I've shown it. I think I understand the science a little better now these days that I could explain it better. Does that make sense, Deanna? I hope it does. But where people are going to fail, if you have a dog that's shut down, or is timid and is nervous, and you just throw an e-collar on because you think that's going to help, you're going to fuck the dog up worse. And so on that side of things, I agree with Ivan 100%. There's more to it. There's more to it. And the most important part out of all of this that I think we could all agree on, there's way too much usage of the e-collar. Way too much. If you're a dog owner and you hit that e-collar 10 times today, you're doing something wrong. If you hit that e-collar 5 times today, you're doing something wrong. Right? That's just my opinion. And I'm talking about the everyday average dog owner, not sport dogs, none of this. I'm talking about pet dog owners that are just hitting that e-collar because their dog's doing something they don't like or not doing something they want. That's the people I'm talking about. Not anyone that subscribes to a system, not anyone in the sport dog world, okay? The people that I mostly deal with, okay? Ooh, let's see. Rima. That's a badass name. For that, I'm going to Sibby. How would you, let's get this here, Rima. How would you go about teaching the dog to enjoy play with the tug when his ultimate reward is possessing the toy and killing it? Apologies if this question is way out of line, it has nothing to do with e-collar. I just logged on. Thank you. Yes, Ree, you violated everything I just said 5 minutes ago. Let's stick to the topic. Let's answer this one more thing because you were so damn polite about it, Ree. Let's just go. Let's just answer this because it's so thing. The thing with play, when most people play with a dog, what you just see is a lot of shaking and thrashing on the person's end, the human's end. It's no fun for the dog, right? There's no objective to the game, nothing. It's not fun for the dog. The goal should be not for the dog to be obsessed with the object or the tug or the toy, but the game between you and the dog, right? That's the object. Again, Ivan puts out great stuff in it. Look, I'm even going to endorse it. Get his possession games. It will explain it in detail and you'll learn a lot from the video. Very, very important, right? Fantastic video. Fantastic video. But we see this at the seminars and with all my private clients. When people play with a dog, they think it's just to tire them out. No, there has to be an objective there, guys. Everything you're doing within that game, there's rules, there's boundaries, there's penalties, there's rewards, right? There's a process to it. And I'm always trying to get better at it myself. It's important that your dog understands the game in a way that they just want to play with you, not run away with the thing. So if your dog's not engaged with you and wanting to play with you, it's because we're not either making it fun or we're making them feel like they just can't win or they don't have a chance. So the people that I work with, when I watch them play with their dog, they're usually using a ton of obedience. As soon as the dog's having a good time, they usually stop the dog and out the dog and then ask for obedience, and the dog never experiences a win. There's not a lot of activity there that makes sense to the dog, right? It's very dominated by the human side of things. Just get possession games and learn on a higher level. My buddy Nick, another Jersey guy. Man, I love my Jersey friends. The e-collar has 3 modes: sound, vibration, shock. Does each work the same? No, Nick. Let's talk this week. You don't need none of that bullshit with the vibration and the sound and all that shit. Let's talk this week, Nick. Forget that stuff. You know, even though you're a diehard liberal and Democrat, Nick, and you probably think Biden's a decent human being, and you probably think this lady that was just, put on the Supreme Court, even though she loves pedophiles, even though you probably think that's pretty cool, we're still going to talk this week because we're buddies no matter what. Hey, Nick, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember we were in like, I don't know if it was 3rd or 4th grade, and we were going to lunch at Paparosi's to get our sandwiches. And on the way back, there was a little old Italian man carrying a loaf of bread. And of course, me being the dick I was, I did something to this old man to piss him off. And he cracked me across the head with the loaf of Italian bread. That was me and you. I remember that like it was yesterday, dude. We were little kids. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, but Nick said stay on topic. I love Nick. He's my buddy. We know each other since we were little kids, man. Lodi, New Jersey was a great place to grow up. Just a great place, you know. Um, but seriously, Nick, let's talk. I'll help you with that, okay? Eric, I'm comfortable letting my dog off leash at home. I live in the middle of the woods with no roads for a quarter mile, but I'm still nervous to let free somewhere that's not home or somewhere he can't potentially get hurt. Yeah, listen, for me, Eric, and this is just me, I don't speak for no one else. That's what the e-collar is for me and my dogs and my clients, to provide that off leash safety no matter where we're at. That's it. I rarely use it for anything obedience related. I barely use it with my dogs. I can't tell you the last time, like I said, was with Dante when we were doing the training. But my other dogs, I couldn't tell you when the last time was. So for me, the whole purpose for the e-collar is to let them be able to run wherever we go. And even though I don't need it, you probably don't need your seatbelt every time you get in your car either, but it's there in case I do. So for all the people that like to say, I'm into this low level stuff, I don't correct dogs, I use it before the command all the time, I use it. No, no, you're full of shit. Stop lying to people or do your damn homework, you douchebags. I hate douchebags. All right, let's see. Kerubal, do you believe the storm from the e-collar can actually become the storm? I'm assuming you meant to say the stim, Karubal. We're going to work on your grammar, but listen, I wrote a book that's highly successful with many grammar and spelling errors, so me and you were like the same. Do you believe the stim from the e-collar can actually become a positive reinforcer, as in an electric stim that has been classically conditioned with a powerful reward so much that has actually stim itself produces a massive dopamine jackpot? Yeah, listen, I teach a nonverbal recall to all my clients, right? And my own dogs. Meaning, if they are 200 yards away from me and can't hear me and a train is coming and I tap that button, no matter what the level is on, as long as they can feel it, whether it's low or high, their default response is to turn and come flying to me, right? If you're someone who's training in different systems, or every time that dog experiences the e-collar stimulation, no matter how you use it, a big giant reward is to follow, of course you can. Is it something that I do? No. Is it something that I want to do? No. Can you do it? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Right? I think I used the analogy the other day. If I was sitting on the couch and my wife walked past me and smacked me in the head really hard and then waved me into a room and made passionate love to me, and she did that every time, and even though I don't like the smack to the back of my head, but I knew that my wife was going to make passionate love to me every time she smacked me in the head, then when she smacks me in the head, am I going to like the discomfort from that? No. Am I going to like what it leads to? Is that going to release the dopamine in me? Absolutely. Absolutely. So you have to look at things for what it really is, right? And let's be honest. Let's stop the bullshit and let's stop sugarcoating things. I'm tired of this bullshit. Let's stop sugarcoating things. Let's be honest, people. Let's be honest. Oh, more shit's to come. Wait till you see what I have to put out. There's going to be a lot of people that are like, this motherfucker, this motherfucker. They're going to be trying to get me banned from Facebook and YouTube and everything, right? And here's the thing, guys. If you represent one of these trainers that you love, no matter who it is, and you're failing with dogs, you charge someone for a board and train a lot of money, and then you do a go home video of how awesome the dog looks, and then the dog goes home and bites a bunch of people and they have to put the dog down. Be careful what you say about others, because eventually people are going to start talking about that. And then the people that you represent and mention in every video you do, it's going to make everybody look bad. So don't be stupid. Don't be stupid, right? Amanda, I am spicy. I had some really hot tacos in Nashville and sent me right to the bathroom. I didn't even leave. Didn't even leave. Let's do this, people. Let's do this. Cindy, I like the way you spelt that, Cindy, with an S. No one spells Cindy with an S, but you do because your last name is De Chiennes, and that's very different. And I like that. That's the difference. You're explaining what you just explained. That is awesome. Clear and right on. That's what people need. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that very much. And that's why I'm asking you guys. Ask me anything you want. If I can answer it, I will. I don't have all the answers, guys. Like I tell people at the beginning of every seminar, what I'm about to show you and do and talk about is just the way I do things. It doesn't mean it's the only way. It doesn't even mean it may be the best way. It's the way I do things. That's it. That's all I can do. I'm not here to try to ridicule the way anyone else does anything except the people that are still harming these animals. I don't give a damn about you. None. And I will call that out in a heartbeat. So I don't care. We could take 100 trainers that all train differently and disagree with each other. But if your first priority is the welfare of the animal, that's good with me. That's good with me, right? Fly pelican. Come on, fly pelican. What's that from? Name that, people. Come on, pelican, fly pelican. Do it. You don't want me to start doing any of my accents. You know that, Steph, right? What's the preferred sippy to pair with Elky Light? Well, tonight, Klaus, is the we're going big time tonight for two reasons. This is an important conversation. I have to drink this before my Jersey friends get here, and they're going to want to drink it on me, and I don't want to share this with them. It's too expensive. Sippy. Now I'm dying for ice cream. All right, let's keep going, guys. Um, any other questions, guys? All right, let's do this. Hillary, can we acknowledge there's a difference between those doing high-level sport work and those of us working to help average pet owners? That's what matters to me and why I'm coming to Florida to Hillary, 100%. 100%, Hillary. 100%. In the sport world, you're working with people that already know a lot of stuff and they always want to be better, and you're working with great dogs. You're working with great genetics, the best of the best. In the pet dog world, we're working with people that don't want to be better quite often. Not always, quite often. You're working with the worst of the worst dogs. Now, with this being said, towards Ivan, I've said this before. In my opinion, Ivan is even better with the behavioral things and the problems than he is in the sport dog world. Doesn't get enough credit. Doesn't get enough credit. So when I see these douchebags sitting on their high horse talking about, like, I've literally seen assholes say, yeah, Ivan's great with Malawan in the sport world, but he can't do what I do in behavior. I just laugh. That's comical. That is comical. He may not advertise it, but trust me, as someone who's been through his course, yes, he can. Yes, he can. 100%. 100%. It's funny because these are the same people that I watch do shit and they're living like 40 years in the past. I haven't changed anything. Hey, Steph, you want to come over here and represent? Stephanie, come represent. Come support your man. Bring out some Zaya stuff. Come on, do it. Do it. Cutting his hair. Oh no. I'm looking for questions, guys. All right, my wife said you guys want to go. How do I stop jumping dogs? They're the bestest, but they're jumpers. I hate them. They're not the bestest, are. Let's be honest here. Okay, your dogs aren't the bestest. Let's stop the bullshit. Guys, if I get one more email that says, my dogs are so great, they're so awesome, they are the most sweetest, best dogs, but they bite me. No, then they're not good dogs, guys. They're not good dogs. They're not good dogs. If you want to stop the jumping, Aura, you have to make it that the jumping is not acceptable. That right there, stopping a dog from jumping on you isn't even an issue. I can't even explain it. And I'm sorry, I know I'm being very prickly here, but the question is, what have you done to stop it? Because that's something that dogs stop in less than 5 seconds. Like they don't even do it anymore. As soon as you tell them you can't jump on me, they don't do it. They don't do it. It's that simple. You know, it's really that simple. I promise. I used your stuff and Robert's stuff to train my male GSD from day one. Love your training vids. Thank you, Eric. I'm assuming you mean Robert Cabral. I love Robert. Good dude, man. I feel like that's my brother from another mother. And, when me and Robert got to hang out this year, I felt like I've known him forever. There was like no weird shit. Like I spent time at his home with his dogs and his lovely wife. And I'm not kind of like that to meet new people and stuff, but I just felt like I've known Robert my whole life. I respect the hell out of him and I just like the dude. And I can't wait to hang with him again. He's a good dude. He's a good dude, you know? Ooh, Jimmy. This is off the subject again. Jimmy. Tips on how to teach play in a manner that is practical for the average pet owner. Listen, I have a very strong shepherd here whose owner is 82 years old. I showed it. Again, the game has to make sense to the dog, but every dog you train should be in a manner that the people that own that dog could continue. That's all I could say about that. That's all I could say about that. Okay. All right, guys. I don't know if there's any more questions here. If not, I'm going to let you guys go. It's been an hour and 42 minutes. I'm willing, but I don't see any questions. And you know what, guys? I'm sorry that we still have to continue to have this discussion, but I'm grateful that Ivan brought it up again because I think it's important. You know what? No one else is talking about this stuff, guys. So hats off to Ivan and anyone else that wants to actually have the conversation, right? George, what's up, buddy? So listen, this guy right here, Mr. George Cockrell's been doing it for a very long time. And we're going to do that live, George, because I want to talk about something different here. You have a perspective that comes from way back. You've worked with some of these people I've talked about tonight, and we have to make this happen there, my friend. I'd appreciate it very much because I'm very appreciative of your experience and the way you conduct yourself. So we got to have you on a live for sure. Absolutely. We're going down a bad path, George, but I know you know that. Listen, guys, the social media thing can be beneficial when we use it in the right way, right? But I'm sitting there today. Dave Croyer put out someone else that you guys should definitely be following, right? Has a great subscription for $10 a month. He put out a video about social media and trainers and stuff, and he hit it out of the park. It's so correct. Like there's trainers out there that are making a lot of money and getting very popular. And I don't, hey, hats off to you. Make the best living you can. Again, but they're not good trainers. Like it's all this marketing bullshit, and editing stuff and making cute videos. And guys, I don't have a problem with that. But if you're going to do that, balance it out with good quality information that actually helps someone. And I know a lot of people hate me because I'm very opinionated. I get it. Listen, I'm going to tell you a little story again about my federal agent, Larry. I had a boss several years ago who's a friend of mine today. Hey, Mike, if you see this. Me and my buddy, we had to move some prisoners down to Nashville one day. And we used to move these prisoners down to Nashville, and a bunch of agents from all these surrounding offices would meet in Nashville, and we would put these prisoners on a plane and send it out of the country. And one day we go down there and there's a problem. I used to get along with everyone all the time. Some of the other guys did not. There'd be a lot of fighting, a lot of arguing, whatever. I used to get along with everyone. One day shit got real ugly and there was a big argument on the paperwork wasn't right on this prisoner, the paperwork wasn't right on this prisoner. All this shit took place and everyone started arguing and fighting, including myself. I was not the ringleader. I was not the most passionate. I was not the main subject. Like, few of the guys got into it really nasty. I get back to my office. My boss calls me in the office. He's like, hey, I got to talk to you about something. So what's up? He said, I heard what happened in Nashville. I said, yeah, it was bullshit, man. It got ugly. He's like, you can't do that. You know, like I got a lot of calls. You know, they called me about you. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about me? I said, I barely participated, you know? Like there were guys going crazy and I had a small part in it. He goes, yeah, I get it. I get it. But here's the problem. He said, people are scared of you. Like you're a little different and they perceive you differently. I said, that's not fair. I said, that's bullshit. I said, there were guys really going at it and crazy. He said, listen, you have a very strong personality and people take you very serious. And when you're angry, they take it very serious. They've seen you at work, they've seen you in the field, they see what you can do. It affects them differently. And man, I was pissed. I was really pissed. I wasn't happy with my boss. Like, fuck, that's bullshit. You know, bullshit. But then as you get a little older, you start reflecting on that and you're like, you know what? I get it. I get it. People see things very differently. And the way I looked at it was when a Cocker Spaniel comes out and growls at someone and snaps at someone, it's one thing. When a Rottweiler comes out and does the same thing, it's looked at very differently, you know? And I got it. And it took me a long time to be at peace with that because I felt like I was being unfairly treated, but I totally get it. George, there's some news coming out soon. Stay tuned. It goes directly to what you're saying. Man, I'm excited, dude. That's good. That's good. We got to keep this shit going, George. This stuff has to be talked about, amongst other things, right? It has to be talked about, amongst other things. Get your own house in order before talking smacks, folks. How people remember you is one of the few things you leave behind. Man, I love this dude. That's experience talking, guys. That's experience talking. I guarantee you 99% of the people on here don't know who George is, never seen him in a video, never seen him on YouTube or TikTok. That's what's great about him. Doesn't have to. He's been doing this almost as long as I'm alive, if I'm correct, right, George? Tell these people what year you started in, my friend. Hey, George, you going to the conference this year? The one year that I went, you didn't go, and I really missed the opportunity. David, you have to go to sleep, dude. This dude doesn't sleep. Doesn't sleep. You know. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. 1970s. I was 5 years old when George Cockrell started training dogs. He has seen it all. Has seen it all. So just the fact that he will even jump on here and interact is very important to me, and I don't take that lightly. I really don't. I really don't take that lightly because he doesn't have to do that. You know, doesn't have to do that, and I appreciate you very much, George. And Mark, if you see this, I appreciate the post you made today very much. We need more of that stuff. This whole bullshit's got to stop, guys. Sippy. Anissa, excited to hear you speak at the virtual working dog conference next month. Thanks, Anissa. I got to talk to Kay about that because I'm not sure. That's way above my pay grade when it comes to technical stuff. So I got to find out more about what we're doing. Nicola, you're crazy. Who just said that? Will you be doing an update on your training with training without conflict? Have your views changed in low stim? Sorry if you already addressed. No, listen, guys. Yes, I took Ivan's course this year. It's a fantastic course. Listen, Ivan's a wealth of knowledge. I enjoyed the course very much so. But here's the thing, I consumed it for a whole year, nonstop, over and over and over. There's a lot to it. I understand 100% where Ivan comes from with the low sim stuff. I never disagreed with him on that. I never disagreed with him. I agreed with him on most of the last podcast, right? The only place where I disagree is you have to take a little more into consideration, and that's the human end of the leash and certain types of dogs. That's it. As far as the course goes, it's a fantastic course. It's a lot of information, but listen, it is what you make of it. If I'm involved in something like that, I'm going to be obsessed with it, and I'm going to study it nonstop and really try to consume and learn, truly learn as much as I can. I had someone bragging to me the other day, like they went through it almost 2 times, and I just laughed. I'm like, 2 times? I've been going through it for a year nonstop. Took a little bit of break here and there, but it's nonstop. You don't learn something by going through it 2 times. That's the difference between someone that just wants to do something and be entertained and maybe get a little bit, and someone that wants to be better, someone that wants to be great at something. You have to be fucking obsessed with it if you want to be great at it. You want to be great at something, you better be fucking obsessed with it. That's all I got to say. If you're not, you're wasting your time. You're going to be mediocre the rest of your life. Mediocre. That's it. You know? And listen, everyone doubts themselves, guys. Everyone has those moments where you have that imposter syndrome thing going on. You doubt yourself. You think maybe you're not as good as you think you are. All of us do it. All of us do it, right? I do it probably more than most, if I had to guess. I really do. I really struggle with that, so especially at night when I lay there at night and I'm like, I'm so stressed out. I'm like, maybe I know nothing. And then I go and I'm amongst a bunch of trainers that are very confident and very full of themselves, very egotistical. And I watch what they know and I'm like, wow, I'm really fucking good. These guys are terrible. I called my wife a few months ago. I spent some time with a trainer that I really like and respect. I used to respect. Very high level trainer, has a lot of respect in the dog training world, put on a very high pedestal. And if you would ask me 2 years ago, if you called me as a client and say, hey, I have you between you and them to choose from. Notice I didn't say him or her. I don't want to give anything away. And they said, who should I choose? I said, choose them. I think they're better than I am, right? I would have told you that. Then I went and spent some time with them just because I was in the area and we hung out for a few days and I watched them train. It's the first time ever in my life. When I was done there, I called my wife and I said, you know what? First time I ever said this. I said, I'm a really good trainer. First time I've ever said those words in my life. I said, I'm a really good trainer. This is someone that's held to a very high standard. And the shit that I saw them do was disgusting. To dogs, disgusting. Their actual ability and knowledge, disgusting. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. That's all I'm going to say. Phil, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, him, her, what's that? We can't define that anymore. No question. No question about it, you know? Let's see, Nicola. What did Nicola say? I'm enjoying this, guys. Trainers that advertise as certified and qualified, but have trained one or two dogs scare me. Yeah, no shit. There's so much bullshit in this industry, Nicola. You know, and that's why I've always tried to show the work. I'll show you the dogs. I'll show you my dogs. I'll show you my clients' dogs. I'll show you the work with my clients. You know, I did a video a few weeks ago where I was very hard on my clients. Very hard on my clients. I don't treat everyone like that. But why was I like that? That's what they needed at that time. When you have a dog that's about to be put down and you have a bite history in the family, that's what a lot of people, including trainers, don't understand, guys. You have to be able to work with each dog, but each human differently. And I'm going to give the person what I believe they need at the time. Are we going to stay like that in that zone? Hell no. No, we're going to get through that and we're going to get better. But I'm not someone that's going to tell you what you want to hear. And I tell people that when you give me a check, I'm going to give you everything I have. That may not be what you like. You may not hear what you want to hear. I may not do what you want me to do. I'm going to be honest with you. But we're going to move on and we're going to get to where you want to be. I promise you that. I promise you, I take that very serious, guys, when someone cuts me that check to work with them. Very serious. I don't fuck around with it. I really don't. What did George say? What did George say? I think the stim can trigger all the feel good stuff within the dog, but I nor anyone else have ever interviewed a dog. Fuck yeah, George. Brilliant. Exactly. Exactly, George. For people to say they know what the dog is thinking and feeling, that shows who they really are. Sippy shows who they really are. I'm sorry, it just does. Let's see. Anissa, I'm getting ready to open my training business in Westmoreland, Tennessee. Oh shit, we're neighbors, Anissa. I have a great foundation from Jim Clausen. Hey, I know Jim. I met up with Jim out here a couple years ago. I'm so excited to keep learning and progressing, evolving. Well, Anissa, if you need any help, you're close to me. Come on out. Come on out. I'll help you any way I can. Good for you. I'll help you any way I can. I promise. Nick, what's up, buddy? That's where I'm here and I know how to use e-collar properly. Thank to you and learn something new every time. Appreciate you, brother. Hope I see you soon, Nick. Ooh, you become Goggins. That's right, Matt. You better. You better. Hey, what's up, Tony? What did Tony say? Tony does some nice work, man. Exactly. Study the system to the extreme before looking into no. Tony, man, you just nailed that, Tony. Tony, you just nailed that. We see these people today jumping from seminar to seminar to seminar. A lot of great people, but they never learn any of it. They take bits and pieces and jump into the next thing looking for that quick answer. Just looking for that quick answer. Tony, I loved the videos you posted on Tobias's website there recently. I commented on it. Man, I loved it. It was great. It was absolutely fantastic. That's another one, guys. I pay for Dave Croyer's subscription. I pay for Tobias Olenek, who's a great guy out in Germany, has a great channel. If you're looking to become a better trainer, listen, it's not if you just want to be a better IGP trainer. If you pet dog folks sign up with someone like Tobias and Dave, I pay for both. If you sign up with them that focus on IGP, and you start implementing that stuff, I promise you're going to be a better pet dog trainer. I promise you. There's no way you can't be. You're going to understand dogs and training much better. That's all there is to it. Okay. Ooh. Jen, how are you, Jen? Don't even start, Jen. Noah, what do you think about Shield Canine training with Az? Man, I like the dude, man. I like. Listen, he shows his shit. He shows his shit. He's no bullshit. He doesn't hold any punches. I like what he does. I like what he does a lot. I really do. I really do. He doesn't try to sugarcoat anything, and he shows his work and he shows his dog. So I like what Has does very much. I don't know him personally. I've never talked to him except like a little bit of interaction through social media, but I respect very much what he's doing, and those are the kind of people I like. You know, they show what they're doing. You know, and they're very strong in their convictions, and I think that's great. Oh, my UK friends are up late. Let's. I've already read that one. All right, guys, we're on here 2 hours now. I don't want to keep you guys. I did not expect this on a Sunday night. George, let's see. I don't use the e-collar to stop much. I use it to direct into the right, better response. The level necessary is decided by the dog in that moment. A bit of advice: don't sweat the numbers on the dial. The dog can't read them, and their response will tell you all you need to know in that moment. That right there is 100% correct. It's that simple. It's that simple, guys. The biggest downfall of the e-collar guys is people are looking for a magic answer. There is none. There is none. It's in the training, right? I have the success with the dogs that I work with, not because of the e-collar. I have the success with the e-collar because of what I know about the dogs. There's a big difference. I don't rely on it for nothing, for nothing. And I use it less and less as I go. I don't know how many times I can stress this, guys. You got to do better. You got to understand the animal. Why do these animals come here to me and in 24 hours, 48 hours are crazy about me? Why? I'm not God's gift to dog training. I'm not the greatest thing since sliced bread. But I just understand what they need and what they want on their terms. I see these fucking people out there where the dog is struggling and they want to hammer the dog because the dog knows what I want. Fuck you. What the fuck do you think you are? You know nothing. You know nothing. You're a TikTok and Instagram trainer that thinks you know what you're doing. You know nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're a fucking, man bun wearing, stupid beard looking, granola eating douchebag who wants to make everyone happy, who don't know what the fuck you're doing. And the second someone calls out people that you're into and involved with and associated with for abusing and destroying dogs, you get all offended. All offended. Fuck you and your offense. I don't give a shit about you. The people you're associated with are destroying dogs, and you think we should support them? Let's all get together and support each other. Fuck you. If you got a puppy, you got a 6-month-old puppy with its head down, trying to get to the place board to avoid the continuous stimulation of an e-collar, and you think that's dog training, and then you want to unfriend me when I call it out, fuck you. You are the biggest thing wrong with this industry, you piece of shit. That's what you are. And there's a lot of you out there. A lot of you out there. Okay? A lot of you out there. So sick and tired of seeing that. People actually brag and show these videos of a dog in a living room, a stagnant area, and a place board. And they are proud about getting on an e-collar to get a dog to fight its way to a place board, but that's not enough. Let's get the double down that was taught by the double douchebags. So it's not only enough for the dog to get to the safe place, but the dog has to splatter its head to the ground and give up on life. And you people on social media want to support these ponytail, little hat wearing douchebags who know nothing about a dog. If you're one of them, fuck you. You are what's wrong with the industry. You are what's wrong. And there's a lot of you out there. And I'm so sick and tired of the dogs being put through this bullshit. I really am. So sick and tired of it. See what Tony had to say. I just wrapped up a 2-day seminar on reactivity and aggression, 22 active training sessions with just 2 corrections delivered to the dogs in the seminar. Lots of progress made, lots of owners educated. I want you guys to listen to that subscribe to like the douchebags that I'm mentioning in there. And there's plenty of them, right? A 2-day seminar for reactive and aggression dogs, 22 active training sessions, 2 corrections given. 2. Two, listen to that, for you idiots that are paying a shitload of money to go work with people that say, turn the e-collar up to 100 and hold it for 3 seconds and pull my ponytail. Think about that. And then pay $100 to go to dinner with me. That's what the dog training community has become. If you subscribe to that, the one dude that unfriended me because got offended when I called out one of his friends for being a shitty, abusive trainer, likes to post these very philosophical memes. And I started looking at a lot of them, and a lot of them are completely plagiarized from me. Things that I have said verbatim from me. Fuck you, you man bun wearing hippie jerk off. Fuck you. You know nothing about training dogs. You're a piece of shit because you support people that like to crucify dogs and think that's dog training. And then when we talk to them about it, they say, oh, you don't understand the situation. This dog was really bad. I had to do that. Fuck you. I bet you this video gets flagged. That's okay, though. All right, guys. Oscar, what's up, brother? Hey, Oscar, this is what I'm going to do for you. Sippy. A lot of shots fired. I think what I need to do, Oscar, is take my vest, my wonderful training vest, that's a little bit too small, not only remove my shirt from underneath, but maybe just wear a little bit of Daisy Dukes and some cowboy boots and do a little training. What do you think? I have to find the man bun man now before I go to bed. Listen, there's not just one, Nicola. There's not just one, unfortunately. I tell e-collars are meant to make being in drive uncomfortable, not snap them out of stress. Yeah, we're going to do that, Oscar. I got to get up this is the best live ever. Thanks, Donna. I'll probably be banned from every social media. I've offended too many people tonight. Too many damn people. A lot of people offended tonight, but I don't give a damn. I don't have to worry anymore. I don't have a background check. Listen, what people don't understand, for 25 years as a special agent, I had to go through a full-blown background investigation, a top secret background investigation every 5 years. So if I busted a wet fart in Walmart, they came and talked to me about it. Why was this fart so wet? Why did you do it in the produce aisle? And then I got to say, I couldn't help it. Like, I ate a bunch of blackberries that day and my stomach hurt. And then I have to go through this whole explanation of why my stomach hurt. It was insane. But now, all the handcuffs are off. It's off. Hey, Justin. Yeah, absolutely, Peter, right? Let's see. Kerubal, George Cockrell, Larry Krohn, I don't think you need to interview a dog. The question is, why are the feel-good stuff being triggered? Is it the potential for a reward that the dog finds rewarding, or is it the actual stim itself that the dog finds? Kerubal, the dog will never find stimulation rewarding. There's nothing rewarding about it. The only way the dog could associate that with being rewarding is what it leads to. Okay? There's nothing rewarding about stimulation. Although some of my friends do like electricity. I'm not going to call you out. You know who you are. Or is this the actual stim itself, though? Do you simply cannot fathom that the hypothesis could actually be set up as simple experiment, though the ethics would be quite. Yeah, no, Kurt, it's a great question. You're looking deep inside the box. There's nothing rewarding about stimulation, right? So a lot of people will always say, my dog loves the e-collar. When they see the e-collar, they don't love the e-collar, guys. No dog loves stimulation. They know what it leads to. And normally, with a lot of people, when the e-collar goes on, it just means you're going out and maybe potentially the dog has the ability to be off leash and run around. That's why they get excited. Just like dogs get excited when the average dog owner grabs the leash. It means they're going for a walk. Because let's face it, the average dog lives a miserable life that's stuck in the house 23.9 hours a day. That's it. So if someone actually puts in the effort to take their dog for a walk, the dog's really excited. Again, that goes back to classical conditioning. The first time you grabbed the leash and put it on the dog, you went for a walk, something the dog loved, right? The second time you grabbed the leash, you put it on the dog, you went for a walk. Now the dog starts to learn. The signal is when you grab the leash, it gets what it likes, going outside for a walk. So it starts to get excited. It's classical conditioning at its simplest form. That's it, right? That's it. And that's what everyone needs to understand. Let's see. What did Anissa? Did you see what happened at Off Leash Canine in Huntsville? Yes, scumbag. That bitch, scumbag. She should go straight to hell and burn several times. It was absolutely terrible. This trainer, who's also the owner, absolutely choked the shit out of a dog and fried him with the e-collar for not responding to commands. So listen, Anissa, that's not rare. That happens every single day, 365 days a year. 365 days a year. There's people training dogs like that. You think she's a dog trainer? No, she's a piece of shit. She's a scumbag. She's a scumbag. There's no dog training ability there, right? And when there's no dog training ability there, they get frustrated and pissed at the dog when the dog's not doing what they say. And now you crank up the e-collar to 100 and you're holding it down and the dog's still not doing it because learned helplessness is setting in and the dog just gives up. And then you start choking the dog because the e-collar is not working. Fuck you. She is a scumbag, and anyone who vouches for her and sticks up for her is a scumbag. She should be locked up and never be able to go near a dog again. Ever, 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 ever. And guess what? I don't have to follow this with, hey, please join my Patreon, or hey, sign up for my school, or hey, sign up for my videos. Fuck you. All of you. All of you. My wife is coming. I hear her footsteps. All right, sorry, Steph. Okay, babe. My wife's telling me it's time to go, guys. Maybe it is. I love Johnny Walker Blue. Listen, guys, I'm not good at accepting gifts, but if anybody wants to send me a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue, I'm totally okay with it. Uh, should I go, Steph? Okay, Steph. Okay, babe. Joselle. This is the first live. Damn, I've been missing a lot. Thanks for all your info lives. Hey, Joe. Yeah, hey, listen. I've done a lot of them, you know? It's what makes me not so loved by some. Oh, oh, what did, hold on, Steph. Uh, good deal. Ooh. What did my buddy Ara say? I like Ara. That's because he's another Jersey guy. We talk a lot. I always remember what you say. Every day the dog wakes up looking forward to an awesome day. I say train less and play more. Happy. Ara, you're doing it right, buddy. And your dog shows. He's amazing with you. You know, the effort that you put in to every day of what you do with. Hi, babe. No, Steph, I have questions to answer. Look, best live ever. See you soon in Destin. Rashawn, you can't ignore Rashawn.
Rashawn's got to go to bed.
No, Rashawn wants to stay up late.
Yep, let's go.
No, Anissa said night, Larry. Don't go.
Night night. Say night night.
All right, let me see if there's any more questions.
No, no more questions.
Stephanie,
Let's go. Let's go.
can't be rude to people. Okay. Thanks, Beth. Love you too. Can't wait to see you again. Okay, Oscar. Hey, Nick. All right, guys. Annalie said, Larry, whatever you're drinking tonight, I want. Me too. I want. Sippy. Cardio is going to be very hard tomorrow. All right, guys. Well, yeah, sure. Katina, I got to. Happy wife, happy life. Hey, Tom, how you doing? How you doing, buddy? George said the same thing, Larry. Happy wife, happy life. Pivot! All right, guys. Hey, listen, I appreciate so many of you staying on for so long. Guys, we got to do better in the dog world. You know, fuck everyone. You know, the dogs have to be the priority, not the social media, you know, not the likes, not the friends, not how many Patreon members you have, not how many people join your school, how many videos you sell, how many books you sell. None of that bullshit matters if the dog's being put on the back burner. Fuck everything else. This video is going to be so flagged. I said so many bad words. I said a lot of bad words, and I'm sorry. There you go, Megan. More calling out bad trainers. Absolutely. Enough is enough. Glenn, what's up, Glenn? That's my buddy. That's another Jersey guy. I hope that was Applejack. Glenn's a very good cook. We got to get together, Glenn, and cook some food together. Well, you cook, I eat. You cook, I eat. Wet farts will get you flagged. Yeah, I got a feeling the people who saw this live are the only people that are going to see it. I'm going to lose all my social media after this. You're going to get all kinds of snowflakes guys who claim they're like a bunch of tough guys going to be calling and complaining. He said bad words and he's referring to me. He's talking about me. Woo, woo, woo. Fucking pussy. The dog comes first, guys, no matter what. A lot of you will say that, but your actions show different. Okay, Stephanie. Stephanie said the wife comes first. Usually does happen. I try my best. Did I just say that? I'm sorry, Stephanie. It was apple juice, Glenn. Hey, Steph. M. Demir said, good night. Your wife is calling. Right on, Larry. Love, Stephanie. Rose, you spelled Stephanie wrong. It's with a PH. Debbie, how are you, Deb? What's up? Hey, did Bill ever see me on his camera? I found his camera and I was doing inappropriate things. I don't know if the battery was still good or not. All right, guys, it's been 2 hours and 17 minutes. I'm almost out of my very good whiskey. I'm going to drink a little bit more. And my wife has given me the orders to go. I don't do man buns. You could, though, Thomas. If you wanted to, you got the hair to do it. And so that is even more impressive that you could do the man bun and I could do the man bun with my back hair, and I don't. So I'm not going to shave my back until Las Vegas because I want to look very sleek when we go. I ever tell you guys about when I got my back waxed for Las Vegas? It was bad. It was oh my God. It was the worst experience ever. Yes, I got my back waxed one year before we went to Las Vegas, and it was bad. I screamed and I laughed, and it was like straight out of a comedy scene. It really, really was. As a matter of fact, it was around the same time that the 40-Year-Old Virgin came out. And when they did that scene where they waxed his back in the movie for real, I nearly pooped on myself. I was laughing so hard because I went through it. I experienced it. I understand it. So we could talk about so many cool things one night, guys. But my wife said I have to go now because her loins crave me. And I can't deny her. Hey, Steph, can I stay on a little longer and play with my friends? Making a sea bass this weekend with a leek saffron cream sauce. What's hey, Glenn, anything that leaks anything creamy, stay away from in the kitchen. It's never safe. What, Steph? Ben said Larry Southern was planning to attend ICP conference in your Discord event. Would love to get I'm going to try to make the conference this year, Ben, but I don't know if I will. I don't know if I will. I had a good time the one year I did, except I had to speak, and that was very nerve-wracking, so I couldn't enjoy the whole experience like I'd like to. I got to make the pee-pee so bad right now. Okay, babe. All right, guys. I'm going to go now. In so much trouble. Okay, so before social media bans me forever, hey, thanks, guys. This was a long one, but I think it's a very important discussion. I'm sure there's things we didn't touch on, but to recap really quick, I thought Ivan's podcast was very good. I agree with most of it. The e-collar is used way too much and definitely improperly. But of course, there's a few things that I do disagree on, and we talked about it tonight. So I hope that we can continue, or someone else continues the discussion without me. I don't need to be part of it, but I hope other people that are more influential than me, bigger names than me, with more time in the game, I hope they start talking about it more. Don't be scared, okay? Don't be scared. Peace. Thanks, guys. Sexy time.